Okay, welcome back. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the online database called Tech4techs and just show you as an auto electrician how we test components that show up as faulty. Now, what we'll do is we'll punch in a reg number. So HV62 ZVU, HV62 ZVU, enter. So we punch in the reg number first of the vehicle we've come to have a look at. So this one is a Vauxhall Zafira. It tells us whether it's taxed and MOT'd. So obviously if it's not taxed or MOT'd, if you decide to do a road test on it, you do so at your own risk. Okay. You can also bring up the MOT details, what it actually failed on if it was an MOT failure. Now, say for example this car came in with a garage, plugged it in, and it's got a map sensor fault. What we need to do is find out, is it a map sensor fault, is it a wiring fault, or an ECU fault? So what we're going to do is just go into guided diagnostics. There are a selection of ECUs, but this one's got air conditioning and it's also got the body control unit in the rear. Okay, now, so map sensor. So the garage had said there's a problem with the map sensor, so we're going to click on that. Okay, so here we have the wiring diagram for the map sensor. So I mean, how quick is this? There's your engine control module. There's your map sensor. There are no other faults listed for this vehicle. So obviously if you had a break in a feed on B42, for example, you would also have codes for camshaft and crankshaft sensors as well. Okay, so we know that that bit's probably okay, but we're still going to test the map sensor. So we have our wiring diagram, we have our pin numbers, we have our colors, where that actually goes, the pin on the ECU, and again the wire colors, because sometimes they can change, for example Fiat's. But anyway, so map sensor, first thing, pin 3, turn the ignition on, measure the voltage on pin 3. Is it between 4.8 and 5.2? If it's yes, that's good. If it's no, turn the ignition on, measure the voltage on pin B, 42, engine control unit. Is it between 4.8 and 5.2? If it's not, check the following. E1 engine control unit. If no faults are detected during the diagnostic check, the control unit may be internally faulty. Okay, so we're going to say these are yes. So test has been completed. Check the connection on ground pin 1. So you go to pin 1, okay, which is there. So it tells you which one is pin 1. Turn the ignition on, measure the voltage on pin 1. Is it between 0 and 0.2 volts? Because obviously it's the earth from the ECU, so it has 5 volts earth and then a signal return. So we'll say no. Turn on the ignition, measure the voltage on pin B. Is it between 0 and 0.2? If we said no again, check the following. Engine control unit, attention if no faults are detected during the diagnostic check, which is basically pinning the wire out between there and there. If you pin that wire out, do a load test on it, and it shows clear, then you are still looking either a map sensor or possibly an ECU fault. So we're going to say yes on that one. Measure the resistance between pins 1 and B45. Okay, so there's pin 1, there's pin B45. Measure the resistance, so basically you do a load test on it. Okay, so we're going to say yes on that. So that's how you check that one. And then check the connectivity of pin 2. Measure the resistance between pin 2, which is this one, and B51. Say yes, connection passed this test. If it was no, repair the wiring and see the diagram. Okay, now, say for example, you don't know where the map sensor is. So whereabouts is it? So location. Click on location. L1 map sensor. There's your engine, and it's there. So you know where the map sensor is. You would just find it so you know where it is. And they also provide a picture, so you also know what you're looking for. Okay, that is just a basic, simple diagnostic from a garages fault code read. Now there's a lot of difference between fault code reading and diagnostics. The diagnostics would be to take that fault code and test the component that the engine management is saying that there's a problem with it. So if we go into this, and there's a big difference between just a fault code read. Now say for example we want to see the layout of the ECU, all the different wiring, we would just go down to engine control unit, click on that. Okay, that then gives us the pins. So if I move this across, it's easier to actually print these. Okay, but say for example you had a no comms with an ECU, so you plug it in with your diagnostics, you got no communication. That happens quite a lot. You can then go through each one of these pins and test pardon me, test each one in turn: supply, power and communication, all from here. It tells you what you should have, it tells you where they are, it tells you the colors of the wires. I mean, it does not get any easier than this. Okay, so if I now go back, you can also do it by fault code as well. Components, scheme, so let's go back to components. Okay, so let's see what else we've got on this one. So vehicle details, if we go guided diagnostics again, so say this time we've got an ABS problem. Engine stop start switch, no, it hasn't got that. So without, so this one hasn't got a stop start. So again, we have now got our details for the ABS. Okay, we got a component list, so let's have a look at the component list. Okay, so these are all the things you need to test. So if we went to ESP control unit, let's click on that. We can go to the ESP. So say for example you've got, as usual, no communication with the ABS module. Right, we can now test each one of these pins. So pin 1, pin 24, pin 14, these should all have 30 is constant live. They should all have a constant live on them. If one of these fuses is blown, your ABS module is going to flash up an ABS warning on the dashboard. And it could be a simple thing like somebody, for example, blew a fuse for their cigarette lighter. They pulled a fuse out to find out if their fuse had blown, and they put the fuse back in the wrong place, or they pulled an ABS fuse out accidentally, didn't know where they'd actually pulled it from, because that happens a lot, and left the fuse out, and that does happen a lot. Okay, but this will tell you each one in turn what you should be seeing on each pin. Okay, all the way through. It gives you all the colors, the pin numbers, everything. Like for example, this one, pin 8 is brown and white. Okay, front left wheel sensor. But at the ECU, pin 2 is yellow. So they change colors from brown and white to yellow. So it tells you what you're looking at, brown and white to yellow. Okay, so you can click on this one, front left wheel speed sensor, comes from the ESP control unit, pin 1 and pin 2. Okay, and then gives you the colors. Pin 1, so it comes off of here as pin 1, right, and it gets to pin 9, so it starts as red, gets to pin 9 as blue and white, and pin 2 starts as yellow, goes through the ESP control unit on pin 8, and that's a brown and white. So you have all your different colors. Okay, and that's it. So what else can this one do? Obviously vehicle history, adjustments. Let's just have a look back into engine management. 9 times out of 10 it's engine management that you'll be going through. Let's go air conditioning. Let's just have a look at this again. Engine management, so component list. Sometimes it will bring up, like say for example you had an injector down, so let's click on an injector number 2. Okay, so it gives you the injector number 2, gives you the colors, the pin numbers, where it goes into the ECU, gives you the relay, fuel pump relay. There's another fuse, which is ignition live. Now this is basic details, this is just what you need. What else can we do on this one? Obviously repair times, customer details you don't need, technical drawings, job sheets, recalls, common problems. This is quite a good one. Now for common problems I use DDTSB, which is Diagnostic Dan's system, and that is absolutely brilliant. Okay, but multiple electrical faults, power loss, ABS warning light illuminates. So if you clicked on that, it tells us, so if we've got, say, a fault, rear wheel speed sensor, open circuit, water ingress into the wheel speed sensor. So that is a very common problem. Tells you how to get over it, tells you what you need. You know, absolutely brilliant little database. Okay, brilliant little database. Now if we go into the history of this one, so say for example this one. Okay, this is a Ford Mondeo, and if you were called out to this one and you were taking it for a test drive and you got stopped, this car has got no MOT. It ran out on the 15th. Okay, expired on the 15th. The owner of the vehicle does not, by the look of it, even know that her vehicle, because it belongs to a woman, her vehicle is actually has failed the MOT. So we will be informing her, because she's one of our customers, that she's still driving around this car with no MOT. Okay, but if we actually brought this up, so let's just click on the MOT. It tells us that the 27th of September it passed at 155,000 miles, and it runs out on the 15th of October 2024, and the advisor is with the brake pads. So chances are this year she's going to want brake pads as well. But it goes through all the details, what it passed on, what it failed on. Okay, and that's on that one. All right, so if you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'm quite happy to try any database that you want, but I use Tech4techs, HGS, and at the moment All Data, but that's been binned off because it's just not worth the money. You'll see the other videos for that. I am very, very disappointed with All Data. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, All Data, forget it. Don't waste your money. But HGS, this is another one. HGS is absolutely brilliant for wiring diagrams, component locations, fuses and relays. Tells you where everything is, tells you exactly what you're looking at. Okay, but I'll do another video for HGS if you want. Just let me know in the comments. Okay, thank you for watching.